Welcome to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by thesoberclub.com. I'm Janey Grace. This is for you if you've quit the booze or you'd like to, or maybe you're just sober curious. I'll bring you tips and motivation without any judgment, and there'll be inspiration from experts, quit-lit authors, and sober heroes. Hi, and welcome to the podcast on yet another bank holiday weekend. Another one coming up, right? And then another one the week after that. So just a reminder, in case you're thinking, ooh, holidays, bank holiday Mondays, that's going to mean drinking. It most certainly does not need to mean drinking, okay? Listen back to the podcast I did with Susan a couple of weeks ago about how we, we have this kind of ridiculous thinking that holidays must mean toxic liquid. And trust me, they really do not have to. Last weekend, I'm so proud of a couple of my Sober Club members. Dupay, who's also one of my sober coaches, ran the London Marathon, 4 hours and 34 minutes. I mean, that's just unreal, right? And the thing is, she only started running like two and a bit years ago. Dupay was actually on TV with me. We did a little thing for the Lorraine show, not last Christmas, but the Christmas before. And she was talking there about how she never could have imagined the difference that being alcohol free would make to her life. And she'd taken up running and wow, I'm honestly just so unbelievably impressed. And then another member did a 10K run in about an hour. It's like, oh my goodness, it's just incredible. I also saw Michael, happy with that hooch, ran something like 22 miles and was kind of beating himself up a bit for not completing it. But oh, trust me, I am just so impressed at the stuff people do and the way they push themselves and the things they achieve when they've stopped drinking. And I'm just such a big believer that, you can actually become your real self and you can do the things you've always wanted to do when you stop drinking. Of course, that's not going to be running a marathon for everyone. It certainly isn't for me. But, we've all got something that we want more of, that we would like to experience, that we'd like to find our purpose or just enjoy ourselves. Don't forget, I know I've mentioned it a lot of times, but I do believe that when you find your purpose, that doesn't necessarily always have to be something huge by someone else's standards. It doesn't always have to be that you will start a charity or run a marathon or write a book. It might be that your purpose is to be happy, but how cool is that? So work on that then and think about the ripple effects, that will have. So, just a plug for sobriety, I suppose, just how incredible it really is. And it just keeps on getting better. And the things that people go on and do once they've made this commitment is literally just incredible. So you may have seen on my social media that a couple of my sober coaches, a couple of the guys who've done the sober coach training, have set up a kind of little one-off event, which we're going to host on Friday, 12th of May, trying to get guys talking a bit more, really. And I know we're generalising hugely, and, for every time we say this, there'll be people who think, well, I don't know what the problem is. I'm a guy, I talk all the time. But I still think that there possibly is a number of males who just don't necessarily share their feelings quite as much as the gals do sometimes. So anyways, I thought it would be a great idea to let Paul and Tony have a chat about this event. It is free. You are welcome to attend. It's not just Sober Club members. Everyone is welcome to attend this one, but you do have to register. So I thought I'd let them share a bit more info, maybe, a little bit about their story and let you know what the, what's going to happen on the event. Just before I do that, just a little plug, of course, I'll have to do that, don't I? My little plugs for Family Constellations. Feels like all I talk about at the moment, but I just get emails constantly about how life-changing it is, and yet not enough people know about it. It really is still a little bit of a well-kept secret. So we have a Family Constellations Day on Friday the 12th of May. That's in Hertfordshire, and I know for a fact we've got a few young adults coming to that one. So if you've got a young person in your life that you want to bring along or that might want to come along, that would be a great one for them. We of course want all ages, but we just happen to know that a few young people are coming there. And so that's Friday 12th of May. So message me if you're interested in that one. And then on Saturday the 20th of May, our next main workshop is in York. So we're going to be doing a one-day constellation in York. Starts 10:30, I think, and the venue is just 5 minutes walk from the station, so nice and easy if you fancy a weekend in York. So that you'll find that in the Sober Club, so thesoberclub.com/events, and you'll find all the information there. And there's also an article on constellations. I did my best to try and describe it. It's not the easiest. It really is one of these things where you just have to say, just come, just be open, come and experience it. And I kind of promise you'll leave with a different perspective, feeling a bit more compassionate, a bit more open-hearted. So check it out if that's something that you're interested in. And of course, if you want to join us in the Sober Club, there's all of that content in there. We have just a huge amount of content around all different stuff. It's not just mindset and all of that. It's all the practical things as well, the nutrition piece and the fitness piece and everything, really. Anyways, over to the guys. Hi, and welcome to my lovely male coaches. Hi, Tony Worsdall and Paul Briley. I'm so glad you could join us. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. Well, look, I wanted to just share a little bit about this project that you guys are heading up with a few of the other guys, which is a free event that we're going to invite anyone to sign up to. You don't have to be a Sober Club member, but it's just the whole idea is to just get guys talking, maybe about changing their relationship with alcohol, that kind of thing, right? Tony, you just tell us what the thing is that and why the idea came about.
Oh, thanks, Janey. I guess, having been alcohol-free myself for about 3 years and being involved in this, what it struck me is that very few men are involved in the conversation about what life could be like without alcohol, and also what's driving them, what are the things that are worrying them, and the overall picture that emerged to me, and is why we started thinking about it, is like men just don't talk. They don't talk about stuff now.
Generally, yeah.
That's a truism, and we all know it's a truism. But what we detected as we sort of, I was talking this over with Paul and a few other guys, is like maybe we should start some sort of forum where people can talk and men can start talking about their issues, whether they're alcohol related or not. Let's find somewhere where people feel comfortable to talk about things like that.
Absolutely. Well, I've had a few guests on the podcast, over the last few weeks, actually, that have a few guys on the podcast that have raised exactly this issue. And, things are definitely changing. Thank goodness. But You're right. In this kind of alcohol space, there are a lot of women sort of really jumping up and down about the benefits of sobriety, which is fantastic. And it was amazing and wonderful to me when I got a few guys who wanted to do the sober coach training. I was like, wow, that's fantastic, because we really need more guys in this space. So it's super good. And Paul, of course, we're just so impressed that you actually flew over from the States to do the sober coach training. Now that's really impressive.
Yeah, well, thank you, Janey. And a lot of this is kind of like being guided, or it's calling. So I was at a point in my coaching career where I felt it was time for me to start supporting others who were kind of on the same journey that I am. And as I was looking to see what additional type of training that I could get, or what additional skills might I need, I was looking at local programs, virtual programs. And then I saw your page, and it's like, oh, that's in London though. That's a long way. And I'm like, oh, could I do the training in London? I think I'm doing the training in London. And I'm so glad that I did, because, not just, a plug for you, but,
oh no, that's okay.
The things we got out of the program, but so many things keep unfolding. I think that I was really meant to be there. The reason I make that distinction, Janey, is because there was a voice inside me that was talking to me. And for many, many years, I quieted the voice at the bottom of a glass of wine.
Yeah.
And now I listen to that voice, and that voice takes me to some scary places, and everyday magic unfolds for me. So I guess the reason I'm in this project is because that voice is so important. I want to invite and inspire people to start listening to the voice. If that voice has been there, or it's been whispering to you, you keep pushing it away. It's time to start listening to it and trusting it, and allowing yourself to be surprised with where it takes you. And as I said in my recent post, it's time for men to start talking about their feelings instead of drinking about them.
Yeah, exactly. Tell both of you, just tell us a little bit about your background then, or drinking career? Shall we start with you, Tony?
Yeah, sure. I mean, like most men my age, drinking started about the age of 14 in the park. It was the done thing, and it's a generational thing that we've grown up with. Here I am at the latter part of my career where, some 50 years later, I made the decision that this wasn't going to continue, primarily because as I approached sort of whatever you might like to think retirement looks like, what it did say to me is more time, more available cash. What could possibly go wrong? And therefore, made that decision after several attempts to try and remove alcohol from my life. But it was really only just before the pandemic that it all came together, and that's how I discovered the Sober Club and how things moved forward. So not an uncommon story, probably drinking a bottle of wine and a few beers every night, and it turning into a habit, which I successfully hid from most people for most of my life. So the coming out of that, the coming out and saying to those near and dear me that I'm doing something about a problem they don't know about, was quite a challenge, and I'm sure that's a challenge that most men will have.
Yeah. Well, you're absolutely right, because as we talk so often on this podcast, that the perception is often that there's two types of drinkers, right? There's those who are absolutely at rock bottom, and then there's everybody else, and everybody else is perfectly fine, just every now and then can't hold their beer, right? Yeah. So when we kind of when we first tell people, well, actually, I'm not drinking, this is really important to me and I'm not drinking anymore, almost always the kind of response is, well, you're not that bad, or the assumption is, oh God, how bad is it? So, yeah. I mean, I've told you several times, somebody said to me, oh dear, have you dried out yet? Like as if I'd been kind of lying in a skip, pouring vodka on my head. So it's really difficult for people to get their head around this kind of spectrum that we now know about, that okay, maybe nobody else knew there was an issue, but we sure knew. So yeah. It's kind of, it's not just even the coming out bit and actually being brave enough to share it. It's how you even enter the conversation of changing that whole conversation around alcohol and these different layers of the booze elevator, right?
Yeah, it's it gets better.
Exactly. Exactly that. And as we know, often, particularly if we play it down and actually don't share too much in the early stages, that's one of my top tips, is actually don't share too much with those really close to you, because they've not been there, done it, got the t-shirt. Save that for the Sober Club or whoever you're connected with, because actually we're the ones who are going to cheerlead you, rather than your nearest and dearest, who, with the best will in the world, when you come home and you've had an absolutely crap week, they're just going to go, oh sweetheart, you've done really well, just have one, and then you're back. But Paul, tell us a bit about your story then. You're obviously at the slightly younger end of the spectrum than some of us.
And not that far. It's interesting. The way that alcohol showed up in my life as I was growing up was not positive. So I actually was kind of anti-alcohol. I'm never going to drink, and I didn't start drinking until the age of 23, and that was as I was coming out, to who I was as a person and sexually and that sort of thing. And so it kind of became the thing. And in the gay community, like, we define ourselves, or at that time in the 90s, we defined ourselves by, alcohol. We're known by what you drank. I was the martini person, and of course then there's all these connotations with that. Well, martini people are smart people and elegant people and all that just horse shit, right? And then, as I got into my 30s and partnering and coupling years, then it was all about throwing parties and entertaining and, fancy drinking and fine dining. And then in my 40s, by then I was in upper levels in corporate America. And then it's, all the business events. And by then I had created a habit that was more than just drinking at social functions. And I define my relationship with alcohol as a 25-year relationship. And when I ended that relationship, it freed me up to have a relationship with myself. I can look back and see how I didn't have room in my life for other people, because that was the most important relationship. and I was a daily drinker, and I kept myself in kind of the functional container, right? And I think the male or the masculine aspect in me was, no matter what I would do to myself the night before, you put a smile on your face, you suck it up, and you suffer through the next day, but don't let anybody else see what you're going through. And I can tell you, there were so many days that I was in so much pain from whatever I had done to myself the night before. And my job was to not let anybody else see it.
Yeah.
And I wonder how many other people are doing the same thing, right? And
oh, totally. I mean, when you actually look at the impact in the workplace, it's unbelievable, the amount of days lost to alcohol, whether or not people come out and say that's the reason. I did, that the hangover Mondays, as it were.
Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. I had a very dear friend who said, I only drink on days that end in Y.
Yeah.
But, you were talking about then this whole, like, how much you keep to yourself, how much you keep secret or private. I would play the game of, I was drinking a bottle of wine a night, but at work, I would tell people I drank 3 glasses. Now, here's what's interesting. In Paul Briley's world, 3 glasses was a bottle. I drank big glasses, right? But if I told somebody I drank a bottle of wine at night, oh, wow, maybe you've got a problem, da-da-da. But if I told somebody I drank 3 glasses at night, oh, no biggie. We're all doing it. And coming out and coming through your program and becoming alcohol-free and listening to some of the Quit Lit out there, it's amazing. Like you said, the people in the middle, the gray area drinkers, we don't talk to each other. We don't really divulge. If you're in the inner circle and you're one of the drinking buddies, then everybody knows how much you're drinking, but you don't really talk about it to anybody else because of judgment, because you're going to, there's going to be an intervention or whatever. So life is just so much different than you can imagine when you just remove that one ingredient from your life.
Yeah, totally. So Tony, this was your idea originally, and we had a chat and you just sort of said, there's not enough guys in the sober club who are talking about stuff.
Yeah.
So what was the kind of, what's the kind of main reason that you well, I suppose a better question would be, what kind of topics do you think will come up? What kind of topics would you like to raise that probably are not talked about enough by men in this kind of world?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that the one I've already spoken about is important, but I think there's a whole range of things that generally themes emerge through these conversations. One is the support mechanisms that people have, and the feeling, certainly sort of brought about by lockdown, that people are more isolated and that they need the sort of company of people. And that, as you said before, Janey, this finding a tribe thing is, for me, that was very powerful, finding the group of people that I could share with. So what we're hoping to do through this is to provide some of that for men that are not getting access to that sort of sharing thing, and not sharing in the way that you ladies do, because we just don't do that. However, having said that, when you do get in a conversation with guys about this, the things flow, and
of course,
and the same stories emerge, the same issues about as Paul said, about people's expectation of what is a normal drinker, what's a great drinker, whether a bottle of wine a night is too much, too little. That's one of the main things. And also, knowing the first steps to take. That seems to me, most of the people I've spoken about have tried before, tried to give up, they've done the dry January, but it's what sustains them afterwards, which is
exactly. And I know that with a lot of my clients, one of the things that they're most afraid of when they know they want to do this, or they have a sense that they need to do this, but one of the things they're most afraid of is the social situation, and how are they going to come across, how are they going to even be when, who even are they when they're when they're being the drinking, the party girl, who are they going to be now, in that sort of social world? I mean, Paul, what do you think that's something that really holds a lot of guys back, because they don't know how they're going to kind of be able to cope, almost be able to exist in a social scene without a glass in their hand?
Well, and I can speak to that from my own experiences. That was one of my biggest fears. I did a lot of journaling and thinking about that beforehand, is who will I be? I don't even know what that is. The only memories I had of being somebody without alcohol was somebody 22 years and younger who didn't know anything about life,
Yeah.
So I didn't have a picture. And the other thing that I had in my mind was, oh, I'm going to be like them, the people that I vilified as non-drinkers, who I consider to be boring.
The boring ones, yeah.
Yeah. So kind of my goal for this is that we are able to present mirrors to people. We're able to help people see the possibility, and hear the stories from other people just like themselves. That's what has changed the most for me in my life, is like hearing somebody else say something. It's like, oh my God, they see me. That is describing me. And well, I'm not so bad after all, right?
Yeah.
When we're drinking, we're doing so. This is my belief. It's my opinion. When we're drinking, we're doing so because we don't know our identity. We may not like our identity. And then we don't want to quit drinking because we're scared of that identity on the other side. Well, you know what? You're not happy with your damned identity right now. So which one do you choose? The one that causes you pain every day, or go ahead and jump into the leap,
Yeah, totally. It's
do
always about so much more than just not drinking, isn't it? The not drinking is what underpins it. But as we know, there's always other layers. And, I don't think, I think, every time somebody gets to that stage where they realize, okay, the alcohol has to go, there's a little part of them that is really fearful about what they're going to have to look at later down the line. And it's true, you do have to look at stuff, you do. But the good news is you do it with so much more resilience, and you can actually start to appreciate yourself and have a bit of self-esteem. And that doesn't mean you're perfect, but you can start to like yourself. And then from that place, yes, you can look at the tough stuff, but just with much more resilience, I suppose. That's what comes up for me.
Well, and I'll add to that, Janey. If you can survive what you do to yourself every night and what you feel every morning, you can damn sure survive a little self-reflection and some tears.
Yeah, exactly.
And in fact, it will do much more for you than another bottle of wine.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And I think, the realization that some of the people we've been speaking to, when they get that realization that that's a normal reaction, that's what you have to go through. That's what you get the opportunity to do when you've not got alcohol just numbing you out every night and trying to hide that. Because discovering the authentic, real you is a journey, which I don't know whether it's a man thing, but certainly men are quite reticent to take that journey, find out what they really are. And I had a conversation earlier in the week. It's like, I've got this client, and I've got this picture of me when I was 7. That's the real me. And that's what I'm becoming now. And I think that's incredible. This guy's recognized that, 30 or 40 years of his life has been pretending to be someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Hiding behind that mask. Yeah. Well, it's great that we're doing this. Really, really good to be kind of part of it. So thank you for having the idea originally, Tony, and getting the guys on board. So do you just want to kind of share the basic info with us then, and then obviously I'll put the link in the show notes. So do that, Tony, for us.
Yeah, I mean, clearly we're expecting a number of people, a small number of people perhaps, to come and join us in this this Zoom call on Friday, the 12th of May at 19:45. Great, GMT, because we will presumably have visitors from other parts of the world. And it's a very informal event. We're going to facilitate a conversation and a discussion about topics that we believe most men will want to share, and just basically encourage people to contribute and to facilitate that contribution. So not very, very easygoing, and hopefully a chance for some people to reflect upon that and make some decisions in their life that they may not have made previously.
Yeah, and it's probably important to stress as well, because there might be people listening thinking, well, I'd quite like to listen into that, but I ain't speaking. And as I always say in sober club events, that's completely fine. It really is completely fine, isn't it? If somebody wants to, if you register, it is completely free, but you need to register. But if you then want to just keep your mic off, your camera off and your mic off, that's completely fine. We weren't not going to flag you up. And this felt so important for me when I first started the sober club, because I'd been part of something not linked to sobriety, but something some years before. And we'd gone into like Zoom stuff, and everyone got flagged up the whole time. And, sometimes I just did not want to take part, just end off. So don't flag me up, right? So we never do that. We won't even mention your name. We know that you've joined us. Great. And you can just lurk if that feels better. That's always the rule in the sober club until you find your feet,
Yeah. Come and absorb, come and listen, come and hear other people's stories. I like to tell people that if you were even curious enough about the topic to read the post and even curious enough to register for it, you're already doing the work.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
already in the process.
If you're listening to this podcast, then possibly it's time.
You're already there. It's not a matter of, oh my gosh, I'm caught. No, you've already realized it. You're already taking the steps.
Cool. Brilliant.
You're already in it.
Good. So thank you. So just while I've got you here, can I have a one-line big up for the sober coach training from you?
Yeah, cool.
I mean, I can't miss that opportunity.
Of course not.
You go first, Tony.
As you know, Janey, I started in October of last year and completed in January, and I just found it a refreshing way to sort of reflect upon the many things I've been thinking about over the 3 years. And what I really liked about it was not only the wonderful location in Southend-on-Sea, but the practical sort of examples that you add to your teaching. And for me, it's all well and good reading books and getting advice and reading web pages or what have you, but it's those real life experiences. And what I found with the training you gave was everything that we threw at you, you had a valid answer to, but backed up by your personal experiences. And for me, that's how I learn. I learn experientially. If you'd have told me, do this, and this, being a project manager, I follow process all the time, but it doesn't work for me in this situation. I need real examples of where that's happened. And for me, that's what the main benefit for me was, just cementing all those things with those real life examples.
Yeah.
Give me the confidence to then go and launch myself into the world back in February.
And your we should say your coaching practice is called Sober 60. So you're kind of working perhaps with people who are getting to that stage where they want to have a little think.
yeah. It's really about midlife men who've just already made up their mind to change their relationship with alcohol.
Yeah.
And
we have amazing guest experts as well, don't we, on our training course? Should give a big up to some of them. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Great people.
Yeah. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. Paul?
For me, oh my gosh, I've already had a coaching practice where I work with people, who are feeling stuck. What I loved about your training, Janey, was a couple of things. That one, it invites the discussion about alcohol. It's like, for me, it was learning how to talk about it, right? I have my own experience with it. I know how to coach people, but talking about the relationship with alcohol, being there for those 2 days, and of course, all these online courses that we're still in the midst of completing, it's really how to have that conversation, that dialogue with other people as a coach. So that was an important element of it. Also, the real life examples. I've told some friends, sitting in that room with those 9 other people, they felt like brothers and sisters, because we could all look at each other and everybody knew exactly what the other person had experienced, right? They were unique experiences like fingerprints, but everybody in that room understood each other. So there was this like energy between us that connected us that was just about so much more than the words and the content and so forth. So that was cool. And then, of course, how you bring the nutrition into it, the holistic pieces. I think that is absolutely critical, because what I'm noticing is that, generally speaking, if somebody's trapped in a relationship with alcohol, they're also not looking at the other things,
No, absolutely,
the wellness, the nutrition.
Mm.
And lastly, for me, my personal journey, you were the next stepping stone in the roots part of the story.
Yeah,
Going
you've become a fan of
roots.
family constellations. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Doing some one-on-one work here locally. Of course, you and I have had a lot of dialogue about this, and already starting to consider whether or not that might be something I might roll into my practice someday as well, if I do some additional training. But
yeah, that's this is what's so exciting, isn't it? You know, you guys have you know, you haven't been doing this kind of stuff very long, and yet look at the change in your life. And this is where it gets exciting, doesn't it? When people stop drinking, oh my God, what else can come in? There's space for all this magic to be created. And I think that's just one of the things I just find so exciting, when people can actually, it doesn't matter what age they are, you know, you're the test to that, Tony. You know, I'm sure some of the people that you're going to be working with are probably people who might have been literally putting their carpet slippers on and just thinking, do you know what, I'm kind of done. They so are not, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Good. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate it. So the link will be in the show notes, but it's Friday, 12th of May at 7:45 UK time. And it's free to attend. So you don't have to be a Sober Club member for this one. It's completely free, but you do have to register. So I'll put that link in. And thanks a lot. Thanks for sharing your stories. We really appreciate it.
Thank you
for having us.
So thank you, Tony and Paul. And as they already said, you know, connection is really important. And if you would like to join us in the Sober Club, we would love to have you, whether you're day one or you've been sober for years. Just check it out, thesoberclub.com. If you're a guy and you want to register for this event, or if you're a woman and you want to, you know, listen in and want to take part, whatever, it's open to everyone. It's free. Just go to thesoberclub.com/events and you'll see the info there to sign up. Friday, 12th of May, 7:45 p.m. That's UK time. So it'd be great to have you involved in that. And as the guys said as well, the Sober Coach training is pretty cool, though I say so myself. It's very comprehensive, and I do really believe the right people show up. So fully appreciate that isn't for everybody, but if a little part of you is thinking, oh wow, actually now I'm doing new things, now I've stopped drinking, actually I would like to inspire other people, then do get in touch. We only have 1 or 2 spaces left for our next training. Maybe they've got your name on it, and if not, then we'll be putting on another one. So just drop me a message. You know how to find me, at Janey Lee Grace, or go via the Sober Club and we can have a chat. Don't forget about Constellations, 12th of May in Hertfordshire or 20th of May in York. You'll find all of that on the website. Don't forget, this bank holiday, keep the ritual, change the ingredients. If your friends are going off drinking somewhere by the river, whatever the hell they're doing, you can do that too, but you will choose to have something non-toxic in your glass. What's not to like? And then you'll be really proud of yourself, and you'll be doing the best you possibly can for your health and well-being. And why would you want that to be any different? Why should anyone else dictate what you put in your mouth? On that note, I'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by the Sober Club. Please rate and review. And if you want support, accountability and inspiration, and you want to live your best life without the booze, check out thesoberclub.com.